letter REISH is connected to the word Rosh, head, and has many connotations of beginning. The new year is called Rosh Hashanah, which literally means the head of the year. We see the first word in the Torah, Bereshit, means in the beginning, and the Reish of Bereshit is connected to the letter Reish. There is an expression in Torah, Reshit Chachma Yirat Hashem. The beginning of wisdom is the fear of God, or the awe of God. This is very connected to the shape of the Reish, which, as in other letters, is bent over. But here, the bending over is from the head. The head is bent over. The head represents intellect. So when we say Rosh, the head, we're talking about intellect. The Torah begins from wisdom. And in fact, one of the Aramaic translations of Bereshit, in the beginning, is translated, in the beginning God created with wisdom. So the letter Reish has to do with wisdom, intellect, and yet we see it's bent over. One of the other meanings of Reish is Rash, which means a poor one. So on the level of worlds, the Reish is bending over. The poor one is bent over from his burden. On the level of souls, the intellect bends over in order to make itself understood. Many examples of this we can relate to children. That when we want to explain to children, we can have 180 IQ, but we have to bend over our intellect in order to give it over in a way that a child will understand. Even in more advanced stages, a professor or a doctor has to give over to their students in a way that they will understand. In a sense, God bends over in order that His wisdom can be given over through the Torah. All of this is alluded to in the first word of the Torah, Bereshit, where the wisdom of the Torah, from which all creation emanates, is also connected to Rosh. If you permute the letters of Bereshit, it spells Rosh Bayit, the head of the house. God, again, as it were, is bending over His infinite being in order to fit into the house of this world. The use of intellect in Kabbalah is very connected to the concept called clarification. Every day, every moment, we're bombarded with an incredible amount of stimuli and information. And the brain, the intellect, has to sort through and prioritize how to deal with all of this stimulus. This is what's called in Kabbalah and Chassidut the art of clarification. The word for clarification in Hebrew is birur, two reishes, to emphasize the role of intellect in clarifying what this world is all about. The letter Reish also has a very interesting phenomenon, that it means Rosh, which means beginning, and yet it appears at close to the end of the alphabet. And the number for Reish, 200, is actually the midpoint of the way we count the Hebrew letters. The Hebrew letters have values from 1 to 400. So even though Reish is one of the last letters, its numerical value is in the middle. So the Reish represents the wisdom of God, the wisdom of Torah, permeating all of reality from the beginning to the middle to the end. A fitting meditation for the letter Reish is to connect to this idea of the art of clarification, of how to purify the mind and the thought process in order to be able to take in all of the stimulus of this world and to order it in a meaningful, purposeful way that gives us understanding of what we're doing in the world and who we are.